Hey y'all, I'm glad you're here. Welcome to the QueerHood podcast, a space where queer voices, stories, experiences, and conversations take center stage. This podcast was created to make people feel seen, understood, supported, and a little less alone. We're going to talk about the unique challenges, joys, realities, and everything in between that comes with queer identity. And no, this podcast isn't only for queer people. Anybody is welcome here, but the conversations we have will always center and uplift queer experiences. So whether you're here to relate, learn, laugh, heal, or just listen, welcome to the community. What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the first episode of QueerHood. This is an idea I have been sitting on for a little over 2 years at this point, and I came across the quote this week actually that said, hesitation is expensive. And I think I've spent way too much time, not only with starting this podcast, but also just in my life in general. I've spent way too much time trying to come up with the perfect formula after I have a thought and the perfect setup and the perfect equipment and the perfect time. And I've just kind of gotten to the point where I'm just like, you keep waiting on the perfect time never comes. You got to make the time, whether it's perfect or not. And then at the end of the process, you realize like the time that I made or the time that you make and that you create ends up being perfect in retrospect. But you guys don't know me yet at all. I mean, I'm sure some of you guys do, but my name is Kiara. Most people call me Key. Feel free to call me whichever one. I think over the last my entire life, I think I've always had a knack for just deep conversations and identity and sex and gender and race and all those different types of topics. And as early as 2 years old, I knew that I was queer. I just didn't know how to articulate that understanding, and I didn't see it around me. So I always equated it to like, oh yeah, Kiara, I'm different. That was the word I used to describe myself for a very long time. Like I'm just different. Not understanding that at the time, at least as a child, not understanding that different as I got older really revealed itself to be like, oh, I'm a lesbian. And then as I progressed even more, it's like, oh yeah, no, I'm trans. So just a lot of layers to that. And so I say that to say it's a perfect segue into kind of why I created QueerHood. I created QueerHood because I feel like within the last well, I guess that doesn't really matter. I was going to say within the last 5 to 6 years, but I feel like in general, we're just in a period where gender and sex it's just so rigid. Like if you're not a man, then you're a woman. If you're not a woman, then you're not a man. It's either you're a boy or a girl. It's either you're a young lady or you're a gentleman. It's so rigid. And I feel like this isn't just a feeling. I truly believe, and my belief isn't delusion. I see this all the time, that humans are made to be, to the fullest extent, diverse. Just like myself, I don't think that anybody is crazy for being trans. I don't think that anybody is crazy for being a lesbian. I don't think anyone is crazy for being gay, bisexual, the whole nine. But I feel like as soon as you go on the internet and as soon as you look at anything politically related, it tells you otherwise. And it's just, it's creating a very rigid and very harmful space for everyone at this point. Not even just people that fall outside of the binary, because I'm also seeing a whole bunch of stuff out there about to be a man you got to do this and be this, and to be a woman you got to do this. And it's just at what point do we draw the line and say actually you don't have to be any of those things, you could be whatever you equate yourself to be? And so that's what QueerHood is all about. It's about having these conversations about gender and sex and what it looks like for person A to be trans versus person B to be trans versus person C, and what it looks like for this person and them being a lesbian versus another person and them being gay, or whatever the case may be. It's just to really put like the diversification of sexuality on a pedestal that we should have had a long time ago. I myself, as I just mentioned, I'm trans. I got top surgery 2 years ago. A year and a half ago. I have a bachelor's degree in women's and gender studies. I love to work out. I love to build relationships. I love to have intimate conversation and just get to know people. I love to know like the ins and outs of a person and what makes them tick. Just for the sake of knowing. I've just always been kind of like a curious, adventurous person when it came to just freedom of thought and freedom of identity expression. And I just want QueerHood to be a space for all of that. For diversity of thought, diversity of gender expression, diversity of sex, all the things. The hope is that this can be a home for all who watch, and not just the topics that are covered. I plan on having an episode about what it looked like when I came out, having my mom on here and her talk about like, she gave birth to a baby, what she presumed was a baby girl, and now my voice is all deeper and I have facial hair, and like how she felt. Those are important conversations. Bringing friends on here who are studs or, flamboyant gay men or masculine gay men, whatever, all of that and everything in between. So, as things progress with QueerHood, you all will be getting to know me more intimately. Full transparency, I don't really plan on having any guests on here immediately. So for the first, I'd say maybe 5 to 10 episodes, the plan really is to just be solo dolo with it. Just so that like y'all can actually like really get to know me. I think when you're speaking on like topics that really hit close to home for people, it's important for them to know that they are like safe hearing you talk about these things. Like everything on the internet isn't safe. So my expectation isn't that people are going to come across this and immediately just, lean into it, because it's like you really don't know me. So I don't want to bring in a whole bunch of people or bring in guests after guests after guests, and y'all haven't properly cultivated a relationship with me. So as you can see, this is the setup. I got my chair, I got my desk, I got my mic, and I sat on this thought for so long trying to make like the perfect background and the perfect this, and do I have this camera and this tripod and this light, and I'm just like, man, fuck all of that, because nothing is going to come if I don't just start. Nothing is going to, like, why am I so fixated on this like picture perfect idea? Like, I would much rather y'all watch me develop. Watch me put a picture up that wasn't there the first episode. Watch me put a bookshelf up. Watch me, you know what I mean? Watch me have some better lighting or some better audio, or get a better mic, or get an actual videographer and have them tweak the camera and stuff. Like I want y'all to see all of that, because it's real. And you can't there's nothing fake and there's nothing unauthentic about watching somebody go through a process, a real process, watching them curate a podcast, a business, etc. So I don't care if I only have one viewer for a year straight. The purpose behind this podcast is to cultivate a safe, authentic, graceful space for queer people across the entire spectrum of queer. This podcast isn't just for queer people, it's for anyone who has a desire to listen and hear and understand. Thank you guys so much for watching the first episode, or this isn't really an episode, y'all. It's really just an introduction. But thank you guys for being here for the introduction, and stay tuned for the following episodes. I'm not entirely sure if I want to do episodes bi-weekly or weekly, but just know that the episodes will be consistent. I could promise y'all that. I could promise y'all that they will be consistent, and it definitely won't be like one episode a month. So that's all I got for y'all. I'm gonna see y'all later. Oh, and also my Instagram is dolo.key. Key spelled Ki. That's my personal account. My workout page on Instagram is clockout.key. Clock is spelled. It's not fully spelled. It's CLKOUT.KI. TikTok dolo.key with 2 eyes. And that's really pretty much it. Like, I like Threads, but Threads is directly connected to Instagram. So I'm gonna catch y'all in the next episode, man. Thank you guys for being here. Love all of y'all.